Now for a change of pace, our next lecturer, I suppose you'd say, you've probably heard him on NPR or read his work in the London Review of Books, social commentator, critic, and marvelous essayist, Hooglio Bastistos.
Thanks, Greg. Checking. Hey, everybody. Well, a lot of people. I'm Hooglio Bastistos. I'm from Lithuania, and it's a great to be part of this Gloucester Writers Center event. I feel like I've been plummeted into stardom here. And, but before I was an author, I worked for a living, and thank you. So, sorry, I'm a little bit nervous. Feel like an egg that's jumped out of the frying pan and back into the chicken. I was sent here by my mishti, and she woke me up one morning, you know, like she always did, and said, "Get out of here!" And I knew it was time for me to go on my journey. And so I looked at myself in the mirror, you know, and I said, "What are you, a man or a molehill?" And I thought about that, and it brought me here to Gloucester. And it took me about 2 years by robot, you know, using either or. And but I had so much happen to me, I had to write it all down, and it's in my new book, Hooglio's Journey in Gloucester. And tonight I'm just doing a reading from the book. Here's the reading. I started at the beginning, where all journeys do, from the Rotary. From there, I ran across a bridge that was eternally under construction and traveled to a country called Ipswich, where I was attacked by green bugs and ladies with fancy cars. I escaped Ipswich and traveled through the nation of Essex, where everyone was asleep. Back to the continent of Gloucester, I landed in a strange place called Riverdale, where I fell into a quarry and I sunk. Past the moss and granite, past a 72 Maverick, all the way to the bottom. On the quarry floor was a cyclops. "Where is my destiny?" I asked it. And she pointed with her eye. I left, and next I found myself in the rough section of Annisquam village. It was dark. I was afraid to walk the streets. Voices yelled, "Go away, non-Annisquammer!" I ran and ran further down the road, covered in a strange fog. A sign, entering Lanesville. I stepped into the smoke and suddenly got the munchies. I was brought before the monarch, Captain Kirk, Carolyn Kirk, and I asked her where my destiny was. And she pointed, a place called Rockport. I paid the Lanesville toll and left. I came before a giant wall at the Rockport border. A small plaque read, "Installed by Safati Romero to keep Rockportigans out of Gloucester and to make Gloucester great again." She had made the Rockportigans pay for it. There was a hole underneath the wall, dug by someone named El Chapo. I crawled through. On the other side, it was chaos. The Rockportigans were wild maniacs. They attacked me with paintbrushes, trinkets, and knickknacks. They forced me to draw a red building over and over and over. Why, I asked them.
Because it is an old fishing shack. We don't know why. Just draw it.
They lashed paintbrushes to my hands and made me paint the red building over and over and over. They made no sense. What kind of a place is this? They said,
It is Gloucester without booze.
the lack of alcohol had driven them to madness. They would not know where my destiny was. I jumped into the ocean to escape. They threw paintbrushes at me like spears. They hit the water above me, red, green, yellow, as I sunk to the bottom of the ocean and I passed out. Days later, I awoke on a beach covered in sand. An oracle came to me and asked me if I had paid the $20 parking fee. He told me about something the carry-in, carry-out program now applied to the bathrooms. He said the sewer had been outsourced and they had to run pipes to India. I trudged to Eastern Point and the guard asked, "Where are you going?" I gave him the secret password and said, "To the lighthouse." He said, "Go ahead." Eastern Point was quiet. My destiny was nowhere to be found. So I went to the next place called Rocky Neck. The rock-neckarians came out of the houses and the shops and chased me through a myriad of nonsensical one-way streets that all led back to the same place. Around and around and around we went till finally I was back into the Rotary. It spun before me, a blur of election signs and trash, people in cars high-fiving me as they went by. The Rotary shot me out into a place called Manchester. The woman behind the counter said,
By the sea. It's Manchester by the sea.
I said, well, technically it's an ocean, not a sea. She grimaced as a train passed by outside. I said, plus the train's Gloucester, so it should probably be Manchester by the tracks. For some reason, I was banned immediately and sent back to the Rotary. Where was my destiny? I was jettisoned to the fort. The sense of community was wonderful. They were connected through drinking, fighting, and stealing purple bags from each other. And reaching out to Eastern Point with the Gloucester peace sign, just with the one finger. I stepped onto Main Street, and to make sure they did not become like a Rockport, Gloucester had stocked the downtown with the alcohol. There were booze stores and bars that were bars and restaurants that were bars. Even at the kids' clothing store had a wine tasting. For the kids. Maybe this was my destiny. To hang out downtown and drink at the magical Gloucester booze. Months went by. It was a blur, and then the police came. I was afraid. I said, please don't arrest me. But they just smiled, took my booze, and offered me a free ride to rehab. I like the police in Gloucester. That's all I'm going to read right now, thanks. You got to buy it to hear more. You know, I used to be a singer, a songwriter, professional, sort of. But I like to write about what I see and know, and you know, I go down to the docks here in the Gloucester because I feel at home. You know, I'm from a fishing village. This is a fishing village, and I talk to the fishermen down here. I know the lingo, you know. Hey, nice clams, you know. How's the lobster biting today? And they like to joke with me. They come at me, you know, with the gaff. And we got a good relationship, you know. Yeah, yin and yak. But I noticed here in Gloucester that the lobsters are very small. In Flushtwania, they're like 7 feet high. And, they're ferocious, you know. They come into town and they break things and smash the pot, and they're so mean. You know, men are afraid to hunt them. So the women do. The Flushtwanian lobster woman is an iconic figure where I come from. You know, like you're a cowboy here, you know, and the big, tall ladies are walking through town. You know, they get their lobster guns and the claw earrings and stuff, and they're just beautiful. And I was perspired to write this song, and it's a time I fell in love with the Flushtwanian lobster woman, and she just would not have anything to do with me. I was hanging at the dock, looking for a job. Well, not really. Then she came off the ramp, carrying lobster traps. She was strong and she was tough, all the right stuff, plus a little bit more. And then she turned and she grabbed her oars, and she rowed away. She rowed away. She rowed away with my heart. The next week, I got my unemployment check, and I asked it out. Dutch. She washed off most of the bait smell, and then we went out. I made jokes, and she made fun of me. We talked of fish and bait and all about the sea, and then suddenly she reached down for her oars, and she rowed away. She rowed away. She rowed away with my heart. Why I fell in love with her, I will never know. Like a fish she left me, flopping on the shore. Why she told me to go to heck, like a tourist on rocky neck. I closed my eyes, she rode away, and then she rode away. She rode away with my heart, and she rode away, and then she got into her boat and got her oars and rode away. She rode away with my heart, with my heart. Thanks, everybody.